What's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to a very special episode of the Atlanta Hawks Rebuild. This is the free agency recap. A lot of stuff went down. I do want to say before we dive into this, though, I need y'all to show out. These are the episodes that I don't think people really realize how much work and detail goes into it. NBA 2K is an extremely frustrating game just because the engine of the game isn't always like common sense driven. And what I mean by that is anybody who's played 2K, you kind of got to go in and guide the teams for them because they will just do idiotic things, whether it's the draft, whether it's the trade deadline, whether it's free agency, whether it's player options and team options. I've seen them let go top 5 picks. I've seen teams have $50 million in cap space and sign 4 point guards. I've seen guys like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Kevin Durant end up on teams that are at the bottom feeders of the league because they had salary cap. So for this offseason, I had to not only control my team, the Atlanta Hawks, but I had to also control every other single team. And this took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do because I really tried to make sure every team spent every single dime they had available wisely. We had some big moves. We had some teams that had some big losses, but it all made sense. And at the end of the day, that's what I strive to do with 2K because, again, common sense isn't always common in this game. But for me as a creator, I just try to have it where everything makes sense. We call it realistic or realism, but it's only so much you can do with 2K. So I call it just making everything that happens make some type of sense. I hope y'all enjoy it. Please show out with the likes, the comments, the views. A lot of y'all be in the comments like, where's the next episode? Where's the next episode? Just so I make this clear and so y'all know, I'm always looking for a few things before I drop the next episode. I'm looking for 10,000 views. I'm looking for like 1,000 likes and 200 plus comments. Every time I get that, I drop a video. That's a simple recipe, the simple formula. So help me get that, and the episodes will continue to come. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Enjoy the episode. I'm going to just go over team by team everything that went down just so it'll be easier for y'all to keep up, because if I showed the transaction log, y'all will be lost. So the Philadelphia 76ers, one of the biggest winners of the offseason, depending on how you look at it. Obviously, Joel Embiid came back. They kind of had everybody on expiring deal, including Maxey, restricted free agency, obviously. They brought Maxey back on a 5-year deal. Pascal Siakam, curveball of the century. He was interested in everybody but the Pacers, and the Pacers gave him like $100 and something million. And he was like, they was third on his list. The Pistons came in and gave him the Pistons came and gave him the most. The Pistons gave him the most money, and they were number one. And when I saw that he was, willing to leave and a little open-minded, I'm like, who all has cap space? And the 76ers had cap space. So what happened was the Pistons end up giving Tobias Harris an offer also. The Pistons had a bunch of cap space, so they were just throwing money at everybody. Tobias Harris ended up signing first, and once Tobias Harris signed, Pascal Siakam had one less offer. 76ers still had money because their roster was rookies, Embiid, and Maxey signing his deal. So then we threw one at Pascal Siakam, and he went there. They brought back DeAnthony Melton, and then a bunch of the rest of these guys are just filler. You know what I mean? Cam Reddish on a 1-year deal, Jordan Nwora on a 1-year deal, Oladipo on a 1-year deal, Kyle Lowry on a 1-year deal, Jalen McDaniels, Doug McDermott. They just kind of fill the rest of the roster, but they have a big three of Maxey, Pascal, and Embiid, and then you got Melton, Cam Reddish, and just a bunch of other guys. So they took a swing for it. We'll see if that front court can work and coexist. The Pacers and Pascal, they just didn't hit it off, I guess, because he was just not. It was hard for me to make them his priority because I gave him the money and he was still just like us. So at that point, I just, devved up other offers. The Bucks, they didn't have a busy offseason, but they had a very successful offseason because they filled a lot of gaps. You bring in Pat Bev, who they have in real life, obviously. You also go in and get DeLon Wright and Gary Harris, 2 veteran guys who can guard, knock some shots down. You still have Beauchamp, AJ Green. Connaughton and Middleton, the rest of the usual suspects. And then you also bring in a vet like Batum who can guard multiple positions, hit corner threes, and play a few minutes a game. The Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, Kobe White, Lonzo is still hurt. We'll see when he comes back. They still got Javon. They went out and added Pat Williams. So Patrick Williams signed an offer sheet with the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz had a bunch of cap space after we acquired Larry Marketing, and they threw a bunch of money at him. As you can see, 3 years, $64 million. Bunch of money in 2K standpoint. Don't compare 2K's money or salaries to real life. They just haven't caught up to that part for whatever reason. But the Bulls end up matching it. And then they brought back Jonas Valanciunas. Not a lot of stuff out there for the Bulls. The Cavaliers, they brought in Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward and Kyle Anderson, they look a lot better. And they also had a nice little draft. So they look good. The Celtics, nothing crazy. Chuma Okeke, Mo Bamba, just to bolster up their front court. Who else really made moves? As you can see, the Clippers didn't have enough money to bring back Russell Westbrook. He was the guy that got the short end of the stick there. And did they add? Yeah, and they brought in Rashawn Holmes and Uncle Jeff Green, who was probably there for his last year. The Grizzlies brought in Chris Dunn. I like that fit there for them. They kept Luke Kennard, obviously Vince Williams. There is no Gigi Jackson. We got to find a way to make sure they get Gigi Jackson. Why don't they have Gigi Jackson? Let me see something. 3, 5, 8, 10, 13. They should have Gigi Jackson. The problem with 2K and why they probably don't have Gigi Jackson is because if you see right here, Vince Williams, his arrow is down with a -3. That's because on 2K, whenever these guys play any minutes in the G League, they just get frustrated. As you can see, his relations aggro. He's aggravated. And let's see what he's saying. I'm feeling aggro about everything that's been happening. I'm not going to make the decision until the season's over, but I think I like to play elsewhere next season. This is just because he played G League. That is a bug in the game that has to be fixed because young guys are going to play G League. If you go to any team that has a guy that played G League, his arrow is just automatically red. Now for my Hawks, obviously our main move and acquisition this offseason was going out and acquiring Larry Marketing. We also made a trade. We finally got rid of Bogdan Bogdanovic. The trade was us getting a backup point guard and Dennis Schroeder because there was nothing really out there on the market. We still got to find a home for AJ Green. And then we also went out and signed Jalen Smith in free agency, which was a big pickup for us. The trade with the Raptors, you'll see why. Basically, the Raptors made some moves where Dennis Schroeder didn't really fit in the plans. They also didn't have any shooting guards, really. And we had Bogdanovic, so we was like, hey, we'll just do a flip. It's easier for us because Dennis Schroeder only has 1 year left on his deal, and we needed a backup point guard because we literally had nothing. So that was what we did in the offseason. It's going to be interesting to see how we shape up. The bench is still kind of we don't have a legitimate six-man. I mean, Quentin Grimes may be playing some six-man, type role or minutes because we may go Trey, Thibault, Marketing, Johnson, and Capella. And then off the bench, we'll probably have Schroeder, Grimes, Dunn, Jalen Smith, and then a Kongu. So, but we still, maybe Dennis Schroeder will be the surprise bench piece that we really needed to spark something. The Miami Heat didn't really do anything but add Jae'Sean Tate. That's really it as far as free agency goes for them. Oh, and they got Miles McBride. Fits the Heat culture. The Hornets, major winners. Obviously, they had the second overall pick again in back-to-back years. They drafted Cody Williams out of Colorado. Obviously, they got Brandon Miller. LaMelo is healthy. They went out and signed Spencer Dinwiddie, a guy who can complement what they do, knock down some shots, 1 year deal, high risk, low risk, high reward if it pans out. They also went and got Bruce Brown, a guy that could just do a bunch of different things for them, play all over the place. Again, a 1 year deal. He was a guy that got a bunch of contract offers, but the Hornets was his number one. This is this dude who had about 4 or 5 offers from a bunch of different teams. I can't remember every team off the top of my head. I know the Raptors were one of them. The Hornets were one of them. I think Philly may have been one of them. Maybe did the Lakers? I can't remember if the Lakers got involved, but he had a bunch. And he liked the flexibility of being on a 1 year deal with the Hornets. And that's the point I do like of 2K. It ain't just about like the team or the money. Like, they have a bunch of different things that make players want to go to different situations, and he chose them. They also signed back Miles Bridges. He returned. And yeah, that was their offseason. I just like some of those veteran pieces that can give them some flexibility in some of those positions. Boom. One of the last big things that happened. The Utah Jazz traded for Bradley Beal. So the situation that happened was the Jazz had an abundance of pieces. So because they traded with us, because they have so many different draft picks from this past year and going forward, they kind of had a log jam at a couple positions. They had Keontae George, Colin Sexton. They drafted Judah Mintz. They also had Malcolm Brogdon from our trade, Kobe Buffkin, Jordan Clarkson. And then you have these power forwards and then John Collins. So the Suns really struggled to have a really good free agency because they didn't have a lot of money. So when I put up the Jordan Clarkson deal, because I went around the league on Trade Finder and tried to find a home for Jordan Clarkson, because I'm like, he's the odd man out. They got about 6 guards. Let's just try to get Jordan Clarkson out there. The offers were cool. I'm like, let me see if we attach John Collins if there's a big trade that can happen. So John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, and a first-round pick went to the Suns for Brad Beal in 3 seconds. The reason the Jazz gave up the first-round pick is because Bradley Beal is still valuable. And if you look, he had a really good year with the Phoenix Suns. 23, 4-4 as a third option, almost 50, 40, 80. Really, really good. So he's still a good, valuable player. Obviously, the Jazz have so many draft picks. They got 4 in 2027, and they had 3 or 4 in 2025. They just gave up a 2025 pick, and then they still have 2 more, and it wasn't their own. It's one of the Cavs one. So they just gave a first-round pick to the Suns. But now their roster is Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Brad Beal, Brogdon, some young guys. They were able to get Isaac Okoro because once the Cavs made their moves, they kind of let him go into free agency. Still have Ochai Agbaji, Furphy, and then you have Taylor Hendricks, Tajane Saloon, and then Walker Kessler, Dario Saric, and Omer Yurtseven. So they're going to be having fun, developing. Still got a bunch of draft capital. And then in a year or two, Bradley Beal's contract is off, and hopefully they got a legitimate star that they've drafted or developed. So Utah had a nice little free agency with that shakeup there. The Kings, they brought in Monte Morris, which is a really good pickup for them. They were able to retain Malik Monk. They brought in Gary Trent Jr., Otto Porter, somebody they also brought in. Why is he injured? He was just healthy in free agency. I don't know why these guys are just popping up getting hurt. And yeah, that was their offseason. The Knicks got Jalen Brunson, obviously, but they brought in Dennis Smith Jr., Tyler Kolek. They retained OG Anunoby. They brought in Matthew Cleveland, a rookie. They brought in Jay Crowder, George Niang, and Drummond, Precious, Mitchell Robinson. Really, really good team still, and it looks like DeJounte is progressing into their best overall player. The Lakers, one of the most disgusting and nastiest off seasons. It was so bad. I really spent a lot of time trying to help them and the Sixers because when the free agency started, them and the Sixers had like no players. The Lakers had Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis, and Gabe Vincent on their roster. And the 76ers had Joel Embiid, Paul Reed, and 2 rookies that they drafted, Trevon Brazile and somebody else. So when I seen that, I'm like, let me really take my time and try to help them and make all of their money spread as much as possible. LeBron opted into free agency and threw some offers at him with teams that had cap space. The Philadelphia 76ers were one. He didn't really bite at that. Ultimately, he went back to the Los Angeles Lakers. It wasn't a bunch of teams that had money, but I was just trying to, give LeBron a chance to leave if that's what he wanted to do. He went back. Once he came back, he took a lot of that cap space. So their team, Tyus Jones, who was just on his team last year, they brought him back. John Wall, a clutch client. Hey, he needed opportunity. They needed some guard play. They brought him in. Real type of Laker move, by the way. Real type of Laker move. Austin Reeves, shooting guard. You also bring in Evan Fournier, who was a free agent. You bring in a rookie, Trey Alexander. They brought back Max Christie, Caleb Love, a rookie on a 2-way deal. You got TJ Warren, who ain't played in like a year. But, hey, Joe Harris for his shooting. You still got Vanderbilt, Javonte Green, a hustle guy. And then you bring in Harry Giles III. So because it's still LeBron and AD, and you like what Reeves can give you between those two, Jared Vanderbilt, Tyus Jones, a steady point guard, there's something there. Jordan Clarkson, we tried to put a deal there that could get them that, but the only thing they had to give back was Gabe Vincent. And I'm like, there's no way the Jazz would just give away Jordan Clarkson. There's no picks or anything from the Lakers that could really make that deal work. So the Jordan Clarkson deal kind of fell out. If they could have got Clarkson, that helps them a lot. I really still don't know who that six-man spark is. They got to really kind of try to lean on TJ Warren or something, but this team is ass. So prepare for LeBron to retire at the end of this next year. The Magic, obviously, like I said, they brought back Anthony Black. I redid that trade just because, I didn't like the way that panned out. Then they brought in Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield and Aaron Wiggins, two major acquisitions for them, and they were able to retain Goga Baratse. So really good offseason for them. The Mavericks had a good offseason as well because they were able to bring in Alec Burks, another guy like Bruce Brown who had about 5-6 offers. He loved the Mavericks. I know the Lakers were hurt at that because he didn't sign for shit. He was going for the minimum. Again, I know it's not realistic. Talk to 2K, not me. They also brought in Robert Covington and Daniel Tice. So Daniel Tice, Robert Covington, and Alec Burks, I think, are just really good pickups for a Mavericks team that had really good success. The Nets brought in Kelly Oubre. They also brought in Jackson Hayes, and they brought back Nick Claxton. So they had a solid offseason, I guess, filling up the gaps. Nuggets bring in Campaign. Is there anybody else that they brought in from free agency? Joe Ingles. Nuggets type of pickups. Pacers, real big losers here. They lose Jalen Smith. They lost Obi Toppin, and they lost Pascal Siakam. But they were able to bring in Sadiq Bey. They still have Jarris Walker, and they brought in Derrick Jones Jr. plus James Wiseman and Xavier Tillman. Like I said, tough offseason for them, but the hope and the beauty of it is that they still should have a lot of money left because nobody that they signed is really long-term. 2-year deal with Sadiq Bey, 2-year deal with Derrick Jones Jr., 3-year deal with James Wiseman. I don't know why that's a 3-year deal. The CPU signed him for them. I'm going to probably make that a 1-year deal or a player option, 1+1 or something, and Xavier Tillman as well. So after this year, they should go right back into free agency, have a boatload of money that they lost from not bringing in Pascal and not bringing back Obi Toppin. So still young. There's still a jump for Benedict Mathurin. There's still a jump for Nembhard. Aaron Nesmith is amazing. He's going up. You got Sadiq Bey. So there's something there. Jarris Walker is still obviously down there with a bunch of potential. But it's going to be interesting to see how they look this year. The Pelicans, Shake Milton they brought in. And who else? That's really, and Christian Wood. Just not a lot of wiggle room for this team. It just feels like they got every position stocked and locked and loaded. The Pistons, real big offseason winners. Took a page out of the Rockets book, added some veteran pieces who can come in and complement some of these young guys. I love what they did. Cade Cunningham, they got Davion Mitchell from a previous trade. Still got Marcus Sasser, Elliot Cadeau from North Carolina, who they drafted. Ivy and Herter still here. Sor Thompson, but then they brought in Jetty Osman. They bring in Taurean Prince for some wing depth. They bring in Tobias Harris. He's backed up by the 2 rookies they drafted, and then they also brought in a former Piston, Kelly Olynyk. Tobias Harris, Kelly Olynyk, 2 former Pistons. They bring them back in, veteran presence, able to get them different looks with some of the athleticism and guys that they got. If they can go out, I don't know. If you put out a lineup that has Cade, Herter, Asar, Tobias, Duran, cool. Your bench, if you let Jaden Ivey run that second unit, him and Marcus Sasser can space the floor for him. Jetty Osman can space the floor for him. And then you also got Kelly Olynyk at the 5 that can space the floor for him. Jaden Ivey will probably, have some moments where he's able to really do what he does, which is getting downhill and attacking and thriving because the space for him is going to be magnificent. Just depends on how they want to play it out there, but I love what they did. Raptors, they brought back quickly. I guess that's the W of the offseason for them. They also brought in Russell Westbrook, one of the few teams that had the money and that made some type of sense for them. So hopefully that works out for him and them. Like I said, they brought in Bogdanovich from the trade that we did. He's going up. Obviously, he should be starting, so he should probably feel good about that. You got Lonnie Walker as a backup off the bench. Then you have RJ and Barnes. Barnes probably moved to the 4, and you'll have Rui Hachimura off your bench. You still got Boucher. You got De Silva that you drafted, and then you got Pirtle, and they also drafted Zach Edey. So not bad. The Rockets, underrated signing that they picked up, but Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson, Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen coming off that bench, being able to knock down shots for them as a sniper, only 28 years old. I thought that was an underrated pickup. Same with Caleb Houston. And they also brought in, that's it, 2 good pickups for them in free agency. The Spurs, Chris Paul still here in the last year of his deal. You bring in Nikola Topic from the draft. And they also added Fontecchio. Just feels like a Spurs type of guy. Cole Hawkins, unsigned rookie, and then Isaiah Hartenstein. I really like the Isaiah Hartenstein pickup. We probably move Wemby to the 4, and he can start either with. I just realized they got the white center. This is the white center team, but they can either start their front court with Wemby at the 4, and he's next to Collins or Hartenstein, whichever one. The backup is going to be really, really nice. And then you got Devin Vassell. You still have Sohan, Fontecchio. Boom. You know what I'm saying? But the Spurs signed all the white centers in the league. They just missing Mason Plumlee and Cody Zeller. The Suns, after the trade with Brad Beal, you got KD. Obviously, you still have Booker. They drafted Jacoby Walker. You have Jordan Clarkson now as your 6th man. You still have Eric Gordon off that bench, who was nice for them in the playoffs. You bring back Josh Okogie, Nasir Little, and you have John Collins and also Kenrich Williams. So they had a nice little offseason, in my opinion. You're obviously going to lean on these 2 guys a lot, but you take Bradley Beal and you're able to bring in 2 rotational pieces. One is an electric 6-man, and one is a front court player who can knock down shots and run the floor, even play small ball center if Nurkic ain't really cutting it. So nice move for them. And then the Thunder, same type of team. They brought in, who did they bring in? Royce O'Neal and Najee Marshall. That was the real 2 big pickups for them that I liked. The Najee Marshall one was huge. Another guy that got like 5 or 6 offers. He ultimately chose to go to OKC to replace Kenrich Williams. The Timberwolves, they bring back Mike Conley. That was pretty much it. They lost Kyle Anderson. They brought in Trenton Watford. And yeah, you know, they just gotta lean on Ant some more. But same type of team from last year. Same thing with Portland. They got Scoot, Markelle, Reed Shepard, Corey Joseph they picked up, Malik Beasley they picked up, and Marcus Morris they picked up. They had some money to spend. They bring in some veterans, some guys they can probably try to trade at some point. And then the Warriors, real critical offseason for them because they bring in Patty Mills. I brought in Michael Carter-Williams myself to be like the new Sean Livingston. But Klay Thompson had an offer from the 76ers, the Lakers, the Warriors, and he might have had one from somebody else, maybe the Pacers or somebody. Oh, man, who was it? I think it was, like the Pacers or something. The Warriors got in. He chose to go back to the Warriors. So, luckily for them, because I liked them at the 76ers for a split second. They also bring in Gallinari, and they bring in Mason Plumlee, Bismack Biyombo, and they bolster up their front court. And then last but not least, the Warriors. The Wizards, nothing much really. They signed Obi Toppin. They were able to sign Obi Toppin to a restricted free agent sheet. The Pacers didn't match it, so they got him for the low, and maybe he turns into something there. I don't know. The Wizards are just a mess right now. We may have to go in and help them make some moves. Like, Denny should go somewhere and play valuable basketball. Corey Kispert should go somewhere and play valuable basketball. Does somebody really want Jordan Poole? He's an expensive 6-man, but damn, his shit ain't working over here. And we should just make sure that they just playing Bilal 36, 37 minutes. Just let him keep progressing. Same thing with Zachary Richardson. So that's the offseason recap, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're not letting me see free agents. I would see who was still in free agency. Not that many people, though. Next year's free agency class, I'm going to probably add another year to Bron's contract to hope that he don't retire. Maybe that makes him stay. But the class next year, Tatum will probably go back to the Celtics. Jimmy's available. Donovan Mitchell. So when you see a team like the Pacers, they still have that money. Maybe Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton backcourt. Who knows? Kyrie is back in free agency. Evan Mobley will be restricted. Same thing with Scotty. They'll probably resign. Jalen Brunson could potentially be back into free agency. Who else? Jamal Murray, potentially, maybe. Brandon Ingram. There are some guys out here that can have Chris Middleton that could be back into free agency and make it livened up. So this is also the last year of Larry Markkinen. If we don't resign him, you know what I mean? If this season don't go how we want, we let him go. Do we bring in a Brandon Ingram? Do we bring in a Donovan Mitchell if we can? So we got to make sure we stay flexible. This upcoming season is big for the Knicks because it's Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. Derek White is going to be a hot guy on the market. Miles Turner. So there, Drew Holiday, who took his player option. There's a lot of names that could realistically hit the market next year. Bogdanovich, Clint Capella, I see Jalen Johnson will have to resign. So we're going to have to make sure we stay flexible because if the season don't go how we want, there's some names out here that we like. But I am going to wrap up the episode. That's all y'all really want to see is the draft and free agency and trades and different things like that. I'm not going to hold y'all to make y'all watch progression of the summer league and shit like that. I like what we did. If we ain't make any more moves, y'all be the first to know in the next episode. Next episode, too, we have to do a random event generator before we go into the regular season because there's supposed to be one on the off season too, but I got so carried away that I forgot. All right, y'all. So before we get out of here, I pulled up the random event generator, and I must say I dropped the ball. This is on me, y'all. I didn't realize how many phases in the off season that there's a random event generator for. So I thought it was just the off season or free agency, but they have a coaching carousel, draft combine, NBA draft, free agency. It looks like they have a lot going on down here. So what I'm gonna do is we are going to still do one for every single phase, and we'll find a way to implement it because some of this stuff can still apply. So the first thing we're gonna do for coaching carousel, we're gonna go in here and let's see. 14, draw a team, increase the training grade of the trainer by 2 points. That's very easy. So that's 14, and the team we're going to do that for, let's see, team number 2, we're going to do that for the Nets. They're going to need it. Very simple for that one. Draft combine, I'm hoping I don't draw nothing crazy because then that could have really made the draft a little bit more exciting. Let's see what we get, though. Let's see what we got. I'm a little nervous. I might still apply it. Player need apply injury between 100 to 200 days. Player needs surgery. Apply injury. All right. So that's number 6. Again, this can still apply. Let's just draw a random team, and we'll see which rookie they have. Team number 9 is the Pacers. I don't know if the Pacers have anybody. So I'm going to draw 2 more teams just so we have an option B and an option C. 16, is that us? No, it's the Mavericks. Again, another team that I don't know if they have a rookie. So we'll do another one just so we have 3 options because this could be fun. The Pistons definitely got a rookie. So hopefully, well, no, it'll probably be the Pistons. So whoever the Pistons drafted, I can't remember who, we're going to make sure that they have 100 to 200 day injury, which is going to suck for the Pistons. That's going to be terrible for the Pistons. But that's actually dope because, you know, the NBA rookie injury thing, for whatever reason, in this new generation is happening more and more and more, which sucks, but it is what it is. Now, this is the NBA draft. So this should have happened during the draft. We'll see if we can pull something that can still be applied. Draw a team with the first round pick, trade their pick. I kind of did that with the Spurs since they drafted the wrong type of player anyway. Red shirt, see, a rookie, we're doing that already right now. Or should we do it twice? A rookie suffers an injury that will force him to miss the entire season. Nah, we're doing that already, basically. Health problems. Randomize one of the drafted players of the draft class and make him retire. Whoa. I don't want to make no rookie retire. That's insane. Draw a player just drafted and make a random hot zone. That's cool. Can we pull something even better? A random hot zone don't, or a random cold zone don't feel like won't play there. This is event 4. One of the top 5 picks doesn't want to play for one of the top 5 teams in the draft order. Choose it or randomize it. Players should not be drafted by this team or has be traded. All right, we can technically do this. We'll make this the NBA draft one, just so we can make sense of the Spurs trade. We'll just apply this to the Spurs. That way, that trade makes sense. We don't have to really force the issue there. Free agency. This again sucks because obviously we just wrapped up free agency, but we just wrapped it up. So let's see if there's anything that can be applied. 430-plus-year-old free agent player decides to come back to his country, delete him from the roster. I actually like this. I actually kind of like this because I think we still might have some people in free agency and we just delete them from the roster. Event 3, FA. And let's try 2 more and see what other things that they have. I like that one. Salary dump. Select a team with contending or buying as their team status. Find the player with the worst salary per year / overall ratio. Should be a bad contract on the roster. Trade him and a first-round pick to a rebuilding or selling team in exchange for a lower amount of salaries, second-rounder, and or small contracts. This is actually kind of funny because this is technically, if y'all think about it, what we did with the Suns. It's not that Bradley Beal is a bad player, but based off these, find a player with the worst salary per year / overall rating. That was Bradley Beal. He's making $51-something million for the next couple of years for the Suns. We broke that contract up because that's considered a bad contract. We sold it to a team that's selling. We attached the pick with them, and they got Jordan Clarkson and John Collins, 2 rotational players, that kind of fit them for the price of that one. Some of these right here, the notes, it says should replicate when teams free up cap space by trading away players with bad contracts. Now, obviously, Bradley Beal is still way more of a valuable player than Mozgov on his bad deal or Gerald Wallace, Chandler Parsons, and all of these other names. But to a similar degree, that checks out. So, bad luck. After the free agency is over, draw a team. Their top free agent sign will be out for the season with a serious injury. All right, okay. 18. I have to write them down because sometimes when you insert the number to get a random team right here, it makes the whole thing change. So the random team is 14. That's the Magic. The Magic signed Buddy Hield. Wow. So Buddy Hield is going to miss the season. Damn. Summer League. It don't look like nothing is up here for Summer League. Draw a team. Number of players in the team, excluding 2A. Yeah, I don't even know what the Summer League is supposed to be again. Training camp. Training camp is right around the corner. So let's see what we got. Draw a player, decrease driving, layup, shot close, and shot IQ by 5 each. Surprise decline. So this is 20. And we'll draw a team, and we'll take a rotational player off of that team or somebody that makes sense. 4. It's the 76ers, which sucks for the 76ers because they need all of the talent that they can get. They need all the talent that they can get. Let's see if we could do one more for training camp. Training camp is always crazy. Draw a player and decrease all of his. I'm tired of people getting like health problems or injuries. Draw a player, increase perimeter defense, and okay, yeah, finally, I like that too. We can increase surprise decline. It ain't a decline. I don't like that they get the surprise decline because this is incline. Draw a player, increase, steal. You're increasing everything. Increase foul tendency by 10. You're increasing everything. All right, let me see what team will get that. Team 26 is the Warriors. So there we have it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 random events to generate for the start of next season. We'll implicate that. And yeah, again, something I love to do, something that's keeping the series fun and entertaining. I suggest everybody at home go ahead and pay that $4 or $5 for attention to detail on Patreon, and you'll be able to use this for your franchises or rebuilds or series or whatever you're doing.